In the last 2 years, we've seen more female filmmakers of all ages, and from particularly outside of New York and LA. We actually have 45% from outside of New York and LA applying to our programs now, which is pretty amazing. And they are not only applying, but they're getting accepted. The work is strong. And there's no question whether you're a man or a woman, we are looking at the storytelling first and foremost and the project itself. But what's been interesting is seeing that it's women, and it's women outside of the traditional centers of film that have these amazing, unique stories to tell.
Right. You know, there are more and more women in business affairs, I think, than there ever have been before. There have always been women executives in publicity, but I'm seeing more and more successful advertising managers and companies run by women, Sherry Callan being really a powerhouse when it comes to most of the independent films that you see. They've created their own businesses that support this business and then are being hired by many of the studios to kind of outsource that operations.
We have to look at gender parity in the film business the same way we look at it and contextualize it in the larger society. There's a statistic that cinematographers in this business are represented by 2% of women, and the rationale, the explanation for why that is because women have families and don't want to work long hours. And I think that whether or not that's actually true, what it points to is that women have many more responsibilities and expectations on them, especially actually at this age, in the 40s or so, where you're expected not only to potentially raise children, but also take care of aging parents, or it forces women out of the workplace in some jobs. And we all know in the film business, hours are extremely long, especially during production. You can be working 14-hour days easily. What this means is that there are unfair burdens, inequitable burdens in the general society in terms of expectations with respect to work, any kind of work. So the film business is really no different.
Because somebody has finally gotten it through everybody's head that if you're going to make a multi-million-dollar movie with investors and all of this stuff as your calling card, well, it's very, very hard. It's always hard. But if you're using, budgetary restraint and you're using the networks and the people that you already have put together, sure, you just have to decide whether it's for love or for money. And what I mean by that is, do you have a film that you need to pay back your investors, you have different people that you have a fiduciary responsibility to, or is this a calling card? And that you're basically doing this to build audiences and go around to festivals or to different places where you get yourself on the map. Because that's just as important especially for women.
Now that people are actually receiving movies, TV shows, YouTube videos, whatever that property is that you're making and trying to get out there. There are now a lot of ways to get started.
We're trending down, actually, since 1999, the statistics of women in film in all roles in cinema, excluding acting, has actually declined.
What I'm seeing, though, is that hunger, though, it doesn't seem to matter, at least, again, using our microcosm, is that you can tell, especially the women, I think, all the bad news in the world and all the statistics and everything that we say, and they say, you know what, I'm still going to try.